everybody, and welcome to the first episode of the Golf Rules Questions podcast with Blakey.
Hello.
You can't see him, but I'm looking at it on the video. Blakey from Golf Rules Questions, he's the man. And me, Roscoe, is loyal co-host of 3 minutes now. Blakey, welcome to the Golf Rules Questions podcast, mate. You're the man of the moment here. How are you going?
Yes, thank you very much. I've got my expertise on the rules, Roscoe, but you're the one with the expertise on the podcast. So you bring all the mouth and I bring all the knowledge. Because how many podcasts are you involved with these days?
Well, if you've heard the name Roscoe and the dulcet tones, the self-anointed dulcet tones, you might catch up with me on the My Love of Golf podcast, and also helping Jamie Glazier over at the Mental Mastery Golf podcast. But you know, just from my perspective, why you introduced me there, Blakey, and thank you very much for letting me join you. Yeah, I am very passionate about the world of podcasting. I think it's a great medium to get some great information from, and then to also now provide information to the golfers of not only Australia, but the world. And, you know, just a little bit of the backstory for the listeners, if they're tuning in for the first time. Well, they will be because it's the first one, Ross. So, yeah. There's the experience coming in, Blakey. I can count.
Yeah, but you said let's have fun, and I like that already.
No, we will have fun. But just a bit of a backstory. You know, you and I met earlier on this year. I think, you came out at the Vic Open where I was playing the Pro-Am to look at, you heard that there was some massive bombs being hit down there. You had to come out and inspect that for yourself. And we had the opportunity to meet down there. I think after that, we had a couple of games of golf, maybe down at PK. And, you know, the seed of podcasting was firmly planted in your mind as very much an add-on to the great work that you already do. Now, I'll come back to you in a sec. You've been a guest on the My Love of Golf podcast, and what I do know is the people that listen to those 2 times, a guest on My Love of Golf podcast, the guys that listen to those episodes really, really enjoyed listening and hearing from you with your insights into golf rules and the golf rules questions. So it just made absolute perfect sense that we would take the golf rules questions format to the audio format of podcasting. It's going to be fabulous. We haven't really worked out how many podcasts a month, a week, a year that we'll do, but we've both signed a massive contract with each other to give this a crack. And that's what we're doing tonight with episode number 1. Now, you already have a vast array of information out there. You're quite prolific, as a matter of fact. You've got the Golf Rules Questions Instagram page, pretty massive, biggest following that I know of. You've got the YouTube channel, which is going great. Very active on the video space. It's going well.
Well, let me start with at the beginning. Give you a little bit of background and for the listeners as well. I'll try and be as quick as I can. But basically, I have this passion for the rules of golf. It all started really quickly. It all started when I was out playing and I did something. I actually think it was something to do with a pitch mark off the green. And it was either me or someone I was playing with. And then another player pulled him up on that and said, no, you can't do that. And I thought, I don't really know. Like, I know the game, know that the ball goes into the hole, start on the tee. You just do everything that you see and hear from people when you join up. As a kid, your mum or dad usually teaches you the rules. And I was like, I don't actually know, all the ins and outs of this game. And I've always loved the ins and outs, all the regulations, what you can and can't do. I've done it in cricket as well. But golf, obviously, I have a bit more of a passion for it. So I thought I'll just start, and I've been studying the rules of golf since I was about 15. Didn't think of it as that big a thing. Didn't even think of it as a possible career. If I'd known it was a possible career, I probably would have got into it a little bit earlier. Anyway, fast track, and I land this job just because I had already done some study. I landed this golf job with an organisation that allows me to grow my passion, my hobby, and I can upskill myself, get more experience and knowledge, and get all these strange questions that continually enhances my knowledge. And then I was thinking, this Instagram came out, and I mean, I think it came out 2013, so I was a little bit late to it, but about 2015, I was just thinking, there's nothing on, I see Golf Gods and I see all these other ones, Golf Bald, where they just post funny videos of people doing stupid stuff. And we all laugh, and, you never do that on the golf course, but we all laugh at someone else who's drunk and doing that. And I thought, people don't really know the rules on Instagram. So why don't I just create this little bit of text with a question? Something like, where do you start play of the hole? And I'll put the answer down in the bottom, or I'll bring the answer in later, and a day later, and they'll all have to answer, and blah, blah, blah. And, I had a lot of people. I started and I got like 7 likes at the start, or 2 likes. And, it's boring. It's text. And I had a lot of people saying, this is really cool, but you should try this, and you should put it in the comments below because it's social media, so people want to hear about it straight away. And, all this, I had so many people helping me, and, I had 50 followers for 10 weeks and 100 followers for a year after that type thing. And then I got into it. More people were tagging me in videos and photos saying, what about here? What do you do here? What do you here? And I just thought, I think this is time to go visual and show people examples. And from there, it skyrocketed. Like the following just started going up. People started tagging me and more, thinking that I was the expert, because I basically tell everyone or show everyone that I am some kind of expert. But being humble here, it wasn't about that. I was actually learning the rules from everyone asking these stupid questions. And so I was actually getting just as much out of them, trying to work out how best to answer the question. I had to read the book, this is how this applies. And so I was making sure that I was giving them the best answer possible. And so it's actually, helped me. This resource of me educating others has actually educated me more than anyone else, or more than people realize. So I just want to throw a question back to you, Roscoe. How did you learn the rules of golf?
Yeah, very much on the fly, learned by doing. As a kid, I learned the rules by being told when I was breaking them.
Yeah.
By my dad. Like he tried his best to educate me before he let me loose on the club competitions as a 13-year-old. And, you really did just learn on the fly. And you think, like I've played golf at a reasonable level. I've played a little bit of pennant golf as a adult. I had a big time away from golf as a adolescent to an adult. So I sort of forgot a lot of the rules, and I really had to relearn them myself. So I did find myself thumbing through the R&A book that the club would provide us, every couple of years when the new editions came out. And I would carry that in my bag. And then on the odd occasion when I needed to learn or find out something that I didn't know, I would pull it out. But even then, in all honesty, there was still always this to me, it felt there was always this ambiguity in the playing group about the adjudication of a number of rules. And, I could think about one that would always come up at Mornington about, a ball in GUR or a ball lost in GUR. And, there was an internal GUR at Mornington. And, that would come up for me because I would hit it long and slice it. So, I would lose a ball in the internal GUR occasionally. So things like that. So I would just have to learn. And obviously sometimes when you're playing as a lower handicap in the group, you've got some allocated level of responsibility to be, at that level and have that level of knowledge, playing in pennant. So you really had to keep on abreast of things. But it wasn't really by any sort of form of study. And, if I'll keep going for a second, I'll reflect back to the real first time that we met, when we met virtually and we didn't know. And this is, for me, I think about this story and I chuckle now that I do know you reasonably well, and, can see you on the video that we're, recording here. I was in Scotland playing golf with a couple of guys, and one of the guys had hit the ball into a burn beside a par 3 green at Dundonald Links. He elected to play out of it. We weren't playing competition or anything. He elected to play out of it. And I was, capturing some content for my, small but meager Instagram account at the time, videoed it. He has clipped the burn wall on his backswing, got the ball out, we've gone, yeah, great shot. And I was sitting in Glasgow Airport and I posted that video. And then all of a sudden, the comments just started to come through like rapid fire. Just, 2-shot penalty, that's wrong, no shot penalty, whatever. And I'm like, oh, hang on, what's going on here? Like, there's people, and the video blew up. It had like 27,000 views within 6 hours. It's the most viewed video ever put up. So it absolutely concurs with, what you said. And you started to chime in. And I realized then that I probably didn't know the rules as well as I needed to, because my initial thoughts on the ruling was, well, I was wrong, because he had grounded his club in the backswing, therefore at the time, not any longer, but at that time incurred a penalty. And I've misinterpreted the rule to think that because he had continued with the stroke and affected a shot at the ball and hadn't stopped, therefore it wasn't a penalty. But no, he grounded his club before hitting the ball in the penalty area, therefore incurring the penalty. But you started to chime in, and I actually removed the comment because I thought, I'm actually not 100% sure of what I'm saying here. I remember not commenting on things. But the funny thing for me is now, and it's not going to be funny maybe for the listeners, but I had this vision of you sitting back, somewhere. I didn't know where you were. And no disrespect to the elder rules officials out there that help the game very admirably. Absolutely, we need everyone who is learned in the rules to help, whether it's a pen club competition, district, or wherever. We need people. But I had this vision of you of being some crusty old rules guy sitting back who had learned Instagram. But it was you.
Yes, and that is not something that is uncommon, Roscoe. There's a double negative. That is a very common thing that people think of me, or without knowing who I am, that I will be 60 years old or even older, 80 years old. And, just thinking about that, it's less, you think about it now and you're like, the amount of times I post, all the sort of different comments and everything, someone that old couldn't type that fast for all the comments that I get. So that's probably put a stop to those thoughts. But another thing on that, I've got a friend in the States who, she does really well for educating beginner ladies on etiquette and rules. Marcella Smith, Girlfriend's Guide to Golf on Instagram. She invited me over to her house. They have a house in Lake Tahoe, or stay there over their summer. And so I was there this time last year. We actually met about a year before that in just outside of San Diego, and that's where she actually lives. Now, she invited me because I was there 3 years, it might have been 3 years ago, for a WGC, the World Golf, the match play in Austin, Texas. And she invited me, knew that I was there because I'd said on Instagram, I'm coming to America. She said, oh, if you're down this way, come and catch up. So I said, yep, sweet. I'm going to be there, and I can be there on Tuesday and blah, blah, blah. And she goes, oh, great. She had, I maybe posted a video or a photo of me explaining and ruling before, but she must have just thought that I grabbed that from someone else, some other place where young people show rules. And so she didn't put two and two together. And when I turned up and said, "Hey, Marcel, it's Blakey, blah, blah," she was taken back. She was like, "Oh, hey, how you going?" And then we went and sort of did this thing, did some rulings and whatever, and that was good. And, I went home wherever I was staying that night. And then I think she messaged me and said, "You know what? I've got to be honest. I was expecting this old dude to be explaining the rules. I didn't realize you're going to be under 30, or what, it might have been just over 30 at the time." So that was a big surprise for her. So it's not uncommon for people to have that thought on my age or whatever. And that's the thing. Like, it's a common thought that people who know the rules, very old people that study it, somehow I have found this this niche as a hobby. Really enjoy it. I really enjoy the people I've met, the engagement. Yeah, we get some trolls on social media. Everyone sort of does, but all I really am is just a messenger. I just pass on the rules and regulations that have been written in this book. It's not for me. I don't make the rules up. I've got experience and knowledge on how they're supposed to be interpreted. And as I said, I'm continually growing that. But with Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, I'm posting other people's videos. I'm doing a question. I'm doing an answer. But people aren't really seeing me apart from some educational videos that I'm trying to do. But what we're doing here, this podcast and this vlog, because we're recording video as well, people will be able to put a face to a name. They'll be able to hear me. They'll be able to see me interact. So I won't just be, that Instagram golf rules guy or anything like that. You'll actually be able to ask questions on here, and Roscoe and I are going to answer them. I can say I'm more likely to get them right, but that's, what Roscoe's bringing to the table is that he's got that much experience with playing golf and watched that much golf. He's definitely going to have experiences of all these rules, and we can talk about them. And that's what I'm looking forward to with this podcast.
Yes, mate. I love the concept of sharing and just talking and engaging with people and helping, people understand whatever aspect of the game it is, the rules. It's a really important part. And you're right. You still see a lot of people on the course that are new to the game, and helping them understand the rules in a really unconfronting way is, for me, is having this as an asset and a resource. I've referred so many people that I know that are new to the game. If they want to learn in a fun way, I've referred them to, the Instagram page, and just say, have a look at some of those videos, because that's the best way to learn, because it's hard, right? Like, you're out there playing golf, and, you might be playing for something, it might be more than social golf. And when you see someone who's not quite sure, they're not breaking the rules by intent, but they just don't have an understanding. It's a really hard thing to be able to direct someone in the right way without confronting them or upsetting them. So, this sort of resource just makes it so much fun, so much more engaging. And like I said, I love sharing. And, you asked before how I learned the rules. It was just by being a golfer. Being a golfer. Yeah. So is that your experience with many people, that they just learn by whacking the white ball and working it out?
Well, people actually ask, what's the best way to learn the rules of golf? And I say, just go out and learn and get yourself into a situation, and then read the book. Now, reading the book might not be that easy, but that's where there are resources like myself that can help you, point you in the right direction. But, go out with someone that does know the rules, or you think knows the rules better than you, and then you can test yourselves on what you know. I learned from my parents, and they were fantastic, but they'd never really got into this amount of study that I've done. So once I sort of realized that a couple of what they'd stated were wrong, or they sounded a little bit unsure, I was like, okay, well, I've got to go and find it in the book and then work it out for myself. And, you know, there's all the videos that I post, half of them, I'm looking at them going, do I go this way? You know, there was one that I posted the other day about, you couldn't tell from the photo, but I wanted it. I don't like sitting on the fence. It's hard, but I just like to choose a side. And then, you know, whatever side you choose, all the people that disagree with you will jump on your back. But that doesn't matter. It's better to just choose a side. Anyway, the ball was literally 50% in, 50% over the hole, 50% not over the hole, touching the flagstick. So I said, no, it's not hold. And then, you know, had hundreds of people telling me that I'm wrong, which is fine. I probably was, because, you know, you couldn't tell from the photo. But, you know, there are situations that are really subjective and they need the interpretation and they need experience. And that's what I'm continually growing of myself. And that's what I expect everyone. They go out, they do, and they continually increase their knowledge when they're out there playing.
Can we talk about that example? Because I did see that, and I didn't see the result of it. I saw and I asked myself the question. Now, what was the outcome? So just to paint the picture again, so you had the ball sitting on the lip of the hole, the flag leaning a little bit towards the ball, and the ball resting on the flag.
Yeah. So
question was, is this ball deemed hold?
Correct. So the flag was like that. The hole's like there, and the ball was sitting, resting against the flag. And, you know, previously, 2 years ago, if you move the flag stick and the ball drops in, it's hold. If you move the flag stick and the ball rolls away, you replace it on the hole, no penalty. That was 2 years ago. Now they've changed it. They've changed it so that if it's resting against the flag stick, you just have to have a part of the ball below the surface, within the circumference of the hole. You just have like this millimeter, like the smallest part, just has to be below the surface. So to actually work out if the ball's hold, you're going to have to go down like this, and you're going to have to look under the hole to see. And, you know, the camera angle, the photo that they took, you can't tell. You just couldn't tell. No one can tell. But as I said, I don't like sitting on the fence. And I actually got out a ruler and I did a bit of a measurement, like really bastard-sized measurement. And I was like, on my photo, on the picture, zoomed it in, and it was like 5.6 centimeters. And I thought that 2.8, it was 2.85, or, you know, right in the middle, was just on the green. And then, so that means that 2.75 was just over the hole. So in physics would tell you that that's not hold, but, you know, someone else could look at it differently and say it was the other way around, and that's completely fine. So in that situation, it's not hold from my understanding. You move the flag stick, the ball goes anywhere in the hole, you know, rolls 2 foot away, you replace it on the lip of the hole and continue play.
And that rule change came about on the basis now that the flag can remain in the hole if it's so chosen. Is that was one of the reasons for that rule change? Yeah,
I would say so. Yeah, that's correct. Which I reckon is a great rule, but, you know, that's a great rule change on the fact that you can leave the flag stick in now. But, you know, you got to go on the, like, if that was a putt, surely someone's put the flag straight before they've putted.
Yeah.
If someone's hit that from 155 yards away or meters away with a 7-iron, then, you know, the previous group might have not put it back properly, or the wind might have blown it that way. So it's unfortunate. You'd hope that the ball went on the other side because it had a lot more space to go in, but it didn't.
Now, you mentioned it before, you know, we want this to be a fairly open and engaging forum and format. So, you know, we'll try and keep everyone abreast of what we're doing podcast-wise via your social channels, absolutely. We might have the opportunity for people to join us. You know, this is being conducted via Zoom. And what a great technology it is, because it allows us to see each other and record it and record some video. So there's no reason why we can't get the occasional member of the listenership on board to ask their questions face to face. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. I think that would be great. I reckon we'll probably end up with someone who just lost the club champs by a shot and thinks he saw the winner throwing a ball out of his pocket. That's the one that we'll probably end up getting, and hopefully they play really good fun with it. So if you can bring a photo, a video, and we'll try and dissect it as well. The one that you're talking about before, Ross, with your friend. And one thing I want to say about that is water hazards. You weren't allowed to ground your club. So they totally took water hazards out. So we don't even think about water hazards anymore. It's just penalty areas. And in a penalty area, you can ground your club. You can make a practice stroke. Prior with the water hazards, you couldn't ground your club in a water hazard on the backswing or a practice swing. So a stroke, that leads us to just another technical point. A stroke is the downswing only.
There you go.
The downswing only. So if you touch the sand and bunker currently on your backswing, you're still going to get a 2-shot penalty or loss a hole in match play. Do you play much match play, Ross?
No, I don't. I'm not good enough to get into the pennant team any longer, and don't have time, to be honest. But I have played a lot of match play, and I did have some quirky rulings during my match play pennant career. One of which was, here we go. We weren't going to talk about this, but we may as well, because we are. What happens when you're in the bunker and all of your gear, i.e. buggy, umbrella, rolls into the bunker?
That's a good one. So provided they just rolled in, beside you, there's not going to be any penalty if they are touching the bunker. Okay, so the restrictions around a bunker are you can't ground your club directly behind, directly in front of the ball, in the backswing, or in making a practice swing. So you can make a practice swing in a bunker, you just can't ground your club. And then also you're not allowed to test the conditions. So stick your finger in, stick the club in, stick a rake in, trying to test the conditions. But if you've dropped your club beside the ball, your buggy's rolled in, you're good to go. That's no dramas.
You can use your club to maintain your balance. Like if you were to fall or so on and so forth, getting in or out of the bunker, or just even taking your stance. If you're on the slope of a bunker in your move, you can use your club to maintain your balance. Yeah, cool.
You can. We actually had that one when we played together, and I didn't know the answer, so I had to go and find the answer out for you. And I was quite surprised at the answer myself. In that, if you are falling over, you're not going to be penalised if you ground your club anywhere other than those spots that I said. So obviously, practice swing. It's not a practice swing when you're falling over, so that's fine. It's not in your backswing, so you're fine. But you won't be able to ground it behind or in front of the ball.
Yeah.
So when you said you were setting up and you just happened to ever so slightly tilt forward because you just lost your balance like that tiny bit and you just grazed the sand right behind the ball, that actually was and should have been included as a penalty.
I'm glad.
I didn't know at the time. I thought, no, that can't be right, So that rule's actually changed a little bit.
There you go. Now, I'm looking forward to engaging with some of your followers. I think that's going to be add another dimension to any of the podcasts that I've done. I've had a lot of guests on, but it's always pre-planned guests and interview style. Never with, people with random questions and legitimate questions that, follow people on Instagram. So it's going to be a lot of fun. What else there, mate? What else? There's some current topics. If we look at some of the pro level tournaments, and one of your passions is refereeing at events, and you've had the good fortune to referee at a number of events on tour in Australia and overseas. You watch a little bit of golf. We had the recent scenario the other week with Jon Rahm, who went on to win. What was the name of the tournament? It escapes me at the moment, but he incurred a penalty on the last hole.
Was it the 16th?
16th. Okay, sorry. Yeah, and then he found out at the end of the round that he had incurred the penalty.
The par 3. So I think that was at Jack's tournament, the Memorial.
Memorial, yes. Sorry, yes.
So that one is about causing your ball to move. And basically, first of all, you need to work out ball at rest, and it comes under Rule 9. So first of all, you need to work out if the ball has moved. And we could clearly see that the ball was moved from the video camera, zoomed in. So the committee have to determine, because they've got that footage, they have to determine if the player themselves either saw it or could have seen it. So whether they might not have been looking at it, they might have been over at they might have sort of placed their club down and then sort of walked off a little bit, and then the ball's literally moved straight away. So you work out whether that's actually been caused by the player. But first of all, it just needs to be worked out whether it actually could have been seen by the naked eye. Now, Jon Rahm must be, 6'3" or something like that. So he's, if you're looking at a chip shot, he might be 8 foot away from the ball. So from 8 foot away from the ball, could the player have seen the ball with their naked eye? The committee have to determine that. My thoughts are they probably sent it to the USGA and said, what do you think? I've had a lot of friends that are referees say that they wouldn't have penalised them. Personally, I would have. I think that because the tailor-made sign rolled slightly, that would have been a lot easier to see. I don't think there's any blight on Jon Rahm. He was probably looking this way, possibly didn't notice it. I reckon I would have slightly noticed it, but in the heat of the moment, who knows? But if you do cause, so the committee said, yep, he caused the ball to move. So we've worked out that it has moved, and we've worked out that there's 4 possible ways or 4 possible factors that could cause the ball to move. The player, natural forces, or it's the other way around. Natural forces, the player, the opponent in match play only, and outside influence. So everything else other than those 3. That includes a player and stroke play, another player and stroke play. So we get to 9.4. The player caused the ball to move. Now you have to replace it. He didn't, because he didn't actually know that it caused it to move. Luckily for him, and probably luckily for the tournament, it didn't make it too big a drama. But it's a 2-shot penalty if you don't replace it. And he got that on the chin, but he already had won by a fair bit, so it worked out well. If it's like the funny thing is about if it's in the teeing area, there's no penalty if you cause your ball to move. If it's on the putting green and it's accidental, there's no penalty. If it's deliberate, you're still going to incur the penalty. But everywhere else on the course, accidental, deliberate, it's still going to incur a penalty unless there's about 4 exceptions. You're proceeding under a rule, like you're lifting your ball to take an unplayable, or you're marking your ball on the putting green, to clean it because you're allowed to, or there's a couple of other exceptions. And I've written a newsletter, a bit of a blog about that, and we'll put that in the link on the podcast so people can click on that and have a read. But the only thing I want to say, the thing that I want to leave people with, because a lot of people said, oh, this is not, it's not very fair. Possibly, but golf was not built to be fair. It's more be careful around your ball. Like just be careful. You know, you don't have to press the grass or lay your club as you know, you don't touch the ground in the bunker, so you don't actually need to touch the ground in the rough. Just be careful around your ball.
Absolutely. I still think it's one of the most, at club golf level, it's one of the things that a lot of people don't take as much care as they probably could. I can't say that I've seen any of my playing partners do it, but I just, you know, it's one of those things.
You know,
maybe I have seen my playing partners to do it. I'll fess up. I have seen them do it, and you know, is it one of those things that you turn a blind eye? I don't know. You know, like that's the hard part about enforcing rules. You know, when you're just playing with a group of people that you either you do or don't know. So
you don't want to lose friends over it, and that's why I don't have that many playing partners.
That's why you put it all on Instagram.
That's right. Just you know, keyboard warrior. But you know, we'll actually cover, like, one of our episodes will cover about, you know, the integrity of golf and how it is quite hard to try and enforce a rule on someone else. Because you mentioned it before, like it feels like a penalty, feels like you've done something wrong and you're a horrible person, but you know, it's not about that. It's golf is very much about owning up to your own mistakes. And you know, I'll say this probably every episode, but golf is more of a challenge of character than it is a challenge of skill. So what lays in front of you, whether it's fair or not, doesn't matter. It's how you deal with it that shows the person that you are, rather than how good your golf swing is or how many putts you hold that day.
Just in finishing up, because we were going to keep this one fairly short, but just to that point, you know, and one of the other recent rule changes, and it regards more the use of measuring devices, that talks to what we we're just talking about there and the character. So previously, you know, with a laser rangefinder, for example, when slope measurement became available on laser measuring devices, you know, you couldn't use that device, you know, and some of the devices were built to have a cap on and a cap off, and you know, you can't use it if you didn't have the cap on. For example, there was a Bushnell or something like that turned it into a slope, and it identified it with red. Now that still happens on, you know, the beautiful laser Bushnell products that we see. They've got the shift models, or some of them have the little button on the side, and you know, it doesn't actually tell anyone around you that you're using slope or not using slope. And I get the question all the time, well, how do you know? You know, like, you're not allowed to use that. Well, I explain, well, you actually are, because the rules changed to allow you to use a device with that on it, and the integrity part then is taken over. You know, it's up to you to enforce the rule on yourself.
Absolutely.
So same as, you know, using your phone for, you know, getting weather information, which you're not allowed to use weather information. Now, once upon a time, you weren't allowed to use your phone as a device on the course, but obviously now with technology and half of the measuring devices being attached to a phone, well, I don't know what anyone's doing.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing, but the integrity part then comes to the fore, and you can have it on the device, but you're just not allowed to use it. And that's the gentlemanly part, the womanly part, and the integrity part of the game that we love.
Yeah, and you know, rules can change. Actually, on what you're just saying, if you have your phone you couldn't have a device that attaches to it to tell you the temperature or the speed of the wind where you are right now. Mm-hmm. But you could actually look up the local weather, which in Australia we have the BOM, the Bureau of Meteorology. BOM's probably shouldn't be saying that, although it might get us more Google searches. But you can actually look up the BOM and say, okay, I'm playing at PK today, so Frankston North tells me it's going to be 23 degrees, wind 15 from the northwest. Now, it's up to you to know what the northwest is, but you can actually, that's fine. You just couldn't have a device telling you it's third hole of the north course, it's blowing 15 k's an hour.
Yeah, right.
But
so did I sort of get that right but wrong?
Yeah, right but wrong.
Yeah, okay. There you go.
But I just want to absolutely go to your point there. You know, the rules do change as well. So, you know, has it happened? I think it happened to Paul Casey last year, might have been. He hit it into a bunker and it came back and hit him. Hit his ball in the bunker, came back and hit him. No penalty strokes. There's no penalty if you accidentally deflect your ball in motion. Prior to that, it was a one-stroke penalty, and I just can't think of anyone that did it. You know, in the last sort of 10 years before 2019. But prior to that, it was a two-shot penalty. And Jeff Maggott, and you've got to correct me the year, because I think it was the year that Mike Ware won the Masters. Was that 2002? It was 2002 or 2003. Anyway.
I'm here for golf rules, not my history knowledge.
Anyway, so Jeff Maggott hit it into a bunker, and into the face of the bunker, bounced back, hit him, two-shot penalty. He ended up making triple bogey on that hole.
Yeah.
So and 18 years later, it's no penalty. So, you know, rules do change. We may see that whole situation where if the ball moves this much, might not be a penalty in 10 years. Who knows? But at the moment, it is a penalty. They are the rules. You know, adjust your character to accepting them, have high integrity and honesty around them, and enjoy the game that we all love.
Blakey, I think for a first episode, first crack at a podcast, I think we've done pretty well. I think we might put this one to bed, make some video out of it, tidy up the audio a little bit, get it out there as soon as we can. We'll endeavour to make our podcast as good as we possibly can. And as I say, I'm looking forward to engaging with as many people, getting some people on. I'm looking forward to learning some more rules. To be honest, it's clear that you can never stop learning, even at my mature age as a golfer and experiences that I have and haven't had. You can never stop learning. So that's why I'm here, mate. That's why you're there.
You know, in all honesty, I'm still learning. I don't think I'll ever know it absolutely 100%. So, you know, we'll get more feedback. I'll hear more stories from you, you know, and we can share our own golf stories. It's going to be, you know, I had one the other, just a little finisher from me. This has been absolutely fantastic. You know, I always sort of think that I'm more of a quiet person, but after sort of listening to myself talk, I think I could talk the hind legs off a donkey. But I had one the other day, and I sort of hit a ball off a tee, and my friend hit a ball off the tee, and we walked around the corner, and we saw two balls there, and I hit 3-iron, he hit 3-wood. So we just assumed that, I just assumed that his ball was at the front. So I went over to the ball behind, and you know, we're both playing Titleist, and I lined up, and I was about here.
So for those listening back without the video, that's at about 9 o'clock on the backswing.
I was about here, so I was still in the backswing with this 8-iron, and I realised that was not my ball. That was a Titleist. What does he use? A 3, and I use like a Titleist 6 or 8 or something like that. I was like, oh, that's not my ball. Couldn't stop myself on the downswing. Tried to, couldn't stop myself. Topped the ball to about 4 or 5 meters in front of me. And then I was like, I haven't managed to stop my stroke. I haven't managed to go out of it. I haven't managed to miss the ball, stop, whatever. So that's actually hitting a wrong ball, because I've still made a stroke. I've hit a wrong ball, lost the whole of the hole, because we were playing match play against each other. So, you know, I was thinking about it, I was like halfway down the hole, I was like, now, is that just, is that a stroke? Well, yeah, but it's not even my ball if I continued. And so, yeah, I'm always learning here. This is going to be great. There's so much more stuff that we can cover, and we'll get some even if people send in videos of themselves asking a question, we'll put it up here. We'll answer it, and hopefully everyone will learn more.
We might have to get some prizes at some stage. Jeez,
that's a great idea.
Hey, very good. Hey,
get some sponsors involved.
Where do we get hold of you for the guys that haven't that are just discovering Golf Rules questions for the first time? Where is the best place to go and check out all of this wonderful content?
So if you've got Instagram, it's GolfRules_questions. If you've got Facebook, it's just Golf Rules Questions. And if you've got YouTube, I think it's Golf Rules with a space and then questions. And, Instagram has so much stuff. There's short videos, there's longer videos, there's education. Facebook basically has all that stuff as well. You're more than welcome to ask direct message questions, comments. And then YouTube has some longer videos and more sort of, tour rulings as well to watch. So, there's just type in Golf Rules questions, and I've got a website that I'm updating at the moment. So hopefully I'll make that look spick, especially with this podcast. So,
but newsletter, you can subscribe to the Golf Rules Questions newsletter.
Yes, yeah, you can. Although type golfrulesquestions.com and see how you go. But as I said, that website will be up and looking really good soon.
Now, you're not going to say this because you're a modest young man, but I'm going to say it for you, listeners. Jump on YouTube, all right? Just first bit of homework for you all is to go to Blakey's YouTube and subscribe, because he's not far away off getting to a significant number, as in 1,000 subscribers. Let's get into 1,000 subscribers. You won't say that, but I'm going to say, do Blakey a favor, get the young man to 1,000. Let's report him in the next podcast that you've got to the 1,000. That'd be a massive little lift for you, mate. Let's get everyone to 1,000.
That's awesome, Ross. Thank you very much.
Very good. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. We've enjoyed bringing this to you. We're going to enjoy even more the journey ahead for however many and however long that's going to be. It's going to be fun. And thanks for listening to the Golf Rules Questions podcast. I'm Roscoe, your co-host. Blakey is there. He's going to give us a wave. See you, Blakey.
See you guys.
Thanks for listening. And until next time, we'll see you on the Golf Rules Questions podcast.